What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Magomed Ankalaev sends a warning to Alex Pereira. On the heels of Alex Pereira's recent victory over Jiri Prochazka, there's been quite a bit of talk about the champion potentially making the move up to heavyweight to pursue UFC gold in a third division. The way Dana White sees things, however, Pereira still has some work left to do at 205 before making the jump up to heavyweight. With that in mind, the expectation is that he'll likely face off with Magomed Ankalaev for his next title defense. During a recent interview with MMA Junkie, Ankalaev spoke about a potential fight between the two, warning the champ that a striking battle wouldn't go the way he expects.
With Alex, you just have to watch a couple of his past fights. With Blachowicz, his wrestling is on the level, and Alex didn't have much to offer. Same with Adesanya. They're both strikers, but Adesanya was able to show him some wrestling. I think he's a great striker, but he's the kind of guy who always moves forward, and that's where sometimes he might make a mistake. That's where I might catch him. There is, strategy we have if he's going to be doing striking, but also if we add wrestling here, I think he doesn't stand a chance. And
Ankalaev also weighed in on Pereira potentially moving to heavyweight, saying that the champ simply can't move up in weight without fistfighting him. Given Ankalaev's win streak and the fact that Jon Jones is on a collision course with Stipe Miocic and Tom Aspinall is preparing to fight Curtis Blaydes, it sounds like another title defense may be up next for Pereira. Next up, let's take a look at Michael Page breaks silence after Ian Garry loss. On the heels of Michael Venom Page's UFC 303 loss to Ian Garry, the former Bellator contender has broken his silence. In a post on social media, Page reflected on the decision loss, which saw him concede nearly 8 minutes of control time to the future, writing, "When defeat comes, accept it as a signal that your plans are not sound. Rebuild those plans and set sail once more toward your coveted goal." So far, there's been no word as to when MVP will look to return to the octagon. In the event that he didn't sustain any serious injuries in the fight, the Nevada State Athletic Commission will tag him with a 7-day mandatory medical suspension and send him on his way. On the flip side, if Page suffered any significant injuries in the fight, such as a broken bone, he could be out for several weeks or even months until he gets cleared by a physician. With his UFC record now at 1-1, it'll be interesting to see where MVP goes from here. Next up, let's take a look at Robert Whittaker reacts to Sean Strickland's comments. After a flawless victory over Ikram Aliskerov, Robert Whittaker finds himself ranked at number 3 on the UFC's official rankings. With number 2 ranked contender Israel Adesanya set to fight for the title next month, a bout between Whittaker and Strickland for the number 1 contendership seems to make the most sense. Despite that, Strickland isn't sold on the fight and has made it clear that he plans to sit out and wait for a crack at the winner of the Duplessis-Adesanya fight. During a recent interview with Southern Cross Combat, Robert Whittaker reacted to the comments from Strickland.
Don't care. It's like, I don't care if everyone's fighting me on this. Because I don't care who I fight, so it doesn't really bother me.
The MMA community was quick to react to Whittaker's response, with one fan writing, "Whittaker is what Sean says he is." Another took aim at Strickland, writing, "Sean needs to stop ducking Whittaker. After that stinker against Paulo, a fight between him and Whittaker makes perfect sense. Winner gets the title shot. Make it happen, Dana." Another questioned whether Strickland would actually get a title shot against the winner of the DDP-Adesanya fight, writing, "People thought Whittaker was done after DDP loss, but he's bounced back tremendously. I'm pretty sure UFC isn't giving Strickland title shot just by waiting for it." As one wrote, "If Rob is willing to fight Sean but not vice versa, then Rob is getting the next shot." Another added, "Leave Sean to bullying random dudes off the street and then coming in fight night to play patty cake." With the Whittaker and Strickland fight making the most sense for this division, only time will tell how this standoff plays out. Next, let's take a look at UFC Fight Updates. Ahead of this weekend's Diaz vs. Masvidal boxing match, let's take a look at today's UFC Fight Updates, starting with a short notice change to the UFC Denver card on July 13th. According to reports, Drew Dober will now fight Gene Silva after Dober's original opponent, Mike Davis, withdrew from their scheduled fight. Shifting gears and looking ahead to August, reports have indicated that a heavyweight bout between Shamil Gaziev and Dontel Mays has been set for UFC Abu Dhabi on August 3rd. The bout will see Gaziev look to bounce back after the first loss of his professional career just earlier this year, while on the flip side, Mays will look to build on an April victory over Caio Machado. Later that month, Li Jingliang will return to action to fight Carlos Prates in a welterweight bout at UFC 305 on August 17th. The bout will see Jing Liang look to bounce back from a split decision loss to Daniel Rodriguez on the infamous UFC 279 card, while Prates looks to build on a 2-fight win streak inside the octagon. Several weeks later, Andre Lima and Felipe Dos Santos will collide in a flyweight bout at UFC Vegas 97 on September 7th, in a bout that will see Lima look to extend his 9-0 professional record, while on the flip side, Dos Santos looks to build on a split decision win over Victor Altamirano back in February. Last but certainly not least in the way of UFC fight updates, reports have emerged that Yasmin Jauregui and Ketlin Souza will collide at the Noche UFC event on September 14th. The bout will see Jauregui look to build on a February win over Sam Hughes, while on the flip side, Souza looks to build on an April win over Marnik Mann. Next, let's take a look at Ilia Topuria disrespects Conor McGregor. Although Ilia Topuria called out Conor McGregor after his UFC 298 win over Alexander Volkanovski, the featherweight champ is no longer interested in competing against McGregor. Following McGregor's recent withdrawal from UFC 303, Topuria spoke in a Spanish-speaking interview with Marca, where he took aim at McGregor for losing his way when it comes to preparing for fights, and as a result, losing confidence in himself. When asked if he would be interested in a fight with McGregor, he responded by saying, "Would I fight Conor? No, I don't think so anymore. He's already lost. He's already very weak. It's like him right now, he's bad. He's bad in everything. He no longer has the self-confidence like he had before, which were the moments when he achieved everything. Everything he has today. He had confidence in his preparation and how he prepared himself. All the effort he put into his preparation and improvement. Right now, he doesn't do it, so he doesn't have confidence anymore. He lost confidence in himself, in his abilities, in everything." As Topuria went on to explain, he believes that because McGregor has lost confidence in himself, he looks for excuses to avoid fighting. Despite that, John Anik revealed he's confident that McGregor will return in 2024 while speaking to MMA Junkie at the UFC Hall of Fame ceremony.
I've been waxing optimistic on Conor for a long time. I fully expect him to compete in 2024, to come back at a high level, fight twice in 8 months. I know it sounds ridiculous and super ambitious to some people, but I just know the mixed martial arts athlete within there, and I just remain hopeful that he's going to come back and make more of an impact than anybody expects that he will.
The big question, of course, is when the UFC will wind up finalizing a scheduled date for the McGregor-Chandler fight. Next, let's take a look at Chael Sonnen roast Jiri Prochazka for UFC 303. At UFC 303, Jiri Prochazka failed to avenge his UFC 295 loss to Alex Pereira. Much like the pair's first fight, Prochazka found himself on the wrong end of a second-round TKO loss, leaving the former champ searching for answers in the wake of the bout. In a post on social media, Prochazka revealed to his fans that if he can't evolve as a fighter, then he has no business stepping into the octagon again. During a recent video for his YouTube channel, Chael Sonnen fired back, weighing in on Prochazka's comments.
Prochazka already talking to the fans, already doing some weird Yuri stuff, and I don't know, man, being a baby, I don't know. He says he's got to either evolve or he's got to quit. It's just a very interesting statement. Anything, that is basic biology 101. You evolve or you become extinct. Like, I do understand what Yuri's saying, and I also understand that he's talking about, you know, I'm not going to settle in. When you lose a contest, decide that that's the time where you've got to change things. Like, you can't be outcome based. It's a huge mistake, and the champions don't make it, but the top contenders do.
While Prochazka is, without question, one of the top light heavyweights on the UFC roster, he may have simply met his stylistic matchup in Alex Pereira. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at Alexander Volkanovski calls out Charles Oliveira and Dustin Poirier. While Alexander Volkanovski's next fight at featherweight will be for the title, given that Max Holloway is expected to fight Ilia Topuria, Volkanovski is eager to stay busy in the meantime. After taking some time off to recover following his UFC 298 loss to Ilia Topuria, Volkanovski revealed in a recent video for Israel Adesanya's Freestyle Bender YouTube channel that he's looking to return to action and compete against either Charles Oliveira or Dustin Poirier.
Then lightweight, it's like, let's have some fun while we're waiting. Because I think they're probably going to do Max and Ilia September. Because I told the UFC I didn't want to fight till later in the year. Like I said, I really committed to that in my head. Now I started training. Now I'm like, I wish I didn't tell them that. You know what I mean? Like, but I did say, look, I don't want to wait too long either. And I'm in a position now where if they do that and they want me to fight lady in a March or something or April, I was like, oh well, all right, I'm going to fight a lightweight. Give me an exciting fight. So that's still exciting. Exactly. So I want an exciting fighter like Charles Oliveira. I did call out Poirier after that when I thought that
The MMA community was quick to react to the situation, with one fan writing, "Why does Volk want to lose so bad?" Another added, In my opinion, Charlie Olives would hurt him on the feet and finish him by a ground and pound, and the last thing Volk needs is to be finished. While DP is also a finisher like Olives, I think this matchup would be better for Volk. It would be a competitive fight and chance for Volk to get a lightweight win. One fan broke down the potential timeline, writing, "This dude is not going to wait on the Ilia Extended Victory Tour timeline. Max is next there, and who knows how long that takes. And if Topuria wins, does he take another 9 months to fight again? Volk is way too antsy for that." Another questioned why the UFC was looking to give Max Holloway the title shot, writing, "I don't understand why they aren't just rebooking him and Ilia. If Volk loses again, it kinda kills any hype for a rematch in my opinion." One member of the community shared their prediction for the fight, writing, "I'ma be honest, he doesn't want that smoke with Charles. Dustin would be a good one for him though." So far, there's been no official word on when a potential Holloway-Topuria fight will take place, meaning fans may get to see Volkanovski fight at lightweight before the year's up. Joe Rogan reveals sad news after he opened up to his guest on JRE and talked about his back and how years of jiu-jitsu has caused this strain on his back. Here's what Rogan had to say.
20 years of wrestling with men and getting your neck strangled, and it's like it does a lot of stuff to your back that's not good.
And you've never had surgery, right?
No. Everyone that I know has had problems. I do not know anyone that has had back surgery that's like, that's the best thing I ever did. Everyone, like Daniel Cormier, UFC champion, he's like, I was never the same. Once they cut my back open, it was never the same. There's ways to also deal with it with stem cells. And one of the things they're doing now, because the FDA has such restrictive rules on stem cells, people are going overseas and other countries to do it. And I have some friends that run a clinic down in Tijuana, the Cellular Performance Institute. And I know many people, including a good friend of mine, my friend Shane Dorian, who is a world champion surfer, who's had pretty severe back problems. He went there, and they're injecting directly into the discs. And there's a very strict protocol of recovery. You're not doing anything physical for like a couple of months after that. You can walk, essentially. They don't want any stress on the back, anything that's going to impede the healing process. He said within 6 months after that, all of the issues that he had went away.
Wow.
Like getting up in the morning, it was always like, just stiff. No stiff, like a new back now.
Top comments. Hamzat's hype train derails hard. Now my boy's on them crypto scams. Very haram. Somehow, Hamzat's beard looks disturbing to look at. Chimaev definitely smashed the smash coin, not to mention the fans' wallets. Wish we could just forget Jones and McGregor in terms of current UFC fighters and just enjoy the talent we have now.